Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody. It's your main man, Shannon. Welcome to the Car Chronicles, the Road Trip. That's right. Many of you have asked for a podcast that follow me on Instagram, and here it is. It's the Car Chronicle Road Trip. And this is just a conversation just with two guys driving in the car. And my very first guest today is not just the woman that I love more than any woman in the world, my favorite person on the earth, the most beautiful woman in the world, my wife, Amber Stewart. Amber, welcome to the Card Chronicles, The Road Trip.
Thank you so much for having me be your very first guest on this awesome podcast. I get a lot of information from you and your car chronicles. I love the daily inspiration. I don't know if anybody's been following you for a very long time, but you used to have a daily nugget, and those messages were inspirational and consistent. And I really enjoy the car chronicles, and I'm honored to be on your podcast.
So, Amber, as I talked about, my goal with the Card Chronicles, and it started off just as a joke about, I don't know, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I've been doing the Card Chronicles. And I would come on and just drop a line, and it's grown. I ran across a guy in a Costco a few months back, and he's like, "Hey, you're the Card Chronicles guy." I was like, "Wow, I don't even have that many followers," so it was a blessing. But Amber, here's what I want to do. I want the people kind of have an idea of who I am, but I want you to tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what you're involved with, your impact on the community.
All right, thank you so much. Well, I'm a wife and I'm a mom. I have two kids, 15 and 11. One of them is in full-time school at private school, and the other one I homeschool. Pray for me. And outside of that, we have a nonprofit called Helping Hands Giving Hope, and which you and I both founded. And that is somewhat of a passion project, but also it's a bit of work here and there. And I'm also a Seroptimist. I'm a sitting president this year of my Seroptimist Club, Lakewood, Long Beach. And I am a Toastmaster. I just recently chartered a new club outside of the Lakewood YMCA. We call it the Lakewood YMCA Toastmasters. I firmly believe that anything that has blessed me, I want to pass on. I have two businesses. I teach skincare and makeup consultation, and the product that I use and love and have been with for 24 years is Mary Kay Cosmetics. And I'm also Amber, the traveling notary. So I am a notary public that is on the go, and I come to the client. So that's just a little bit of what I do. And I like to sing, read books, and sleep and take baths.
So everything we do, it's driven on community, right? And everybody I talked to, I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Tito, the Hood Santa, last week, and we were talking about community, how we impact the community, how we change community lives. I was paying attention recently. I was looking at some of the stuff that we did back in the day, right? So for those of you, here's what Amber didn't talk about. So a couple of years ago, Amber would always say to me, like, "You're involved in all this stuff. And you're running out of time, you're tired all the time." And I was like, "As soon as you get involved in your first community organization, this is what's going to happen." And she was like, "No, it's not." And then she became a Seroptimist. Now she's the president of the Seroptimist. She sits on the chamber. All of these things we do with a clear desire to serve, improve, and make the lives of others better. And it's not just us doing it, it's our whole family doing it. And I wanted to talk a bit about, you know, the origins of Helping Hands Giving Hope and how you've kind of transitioned a lot of the stuff that you do from the skincare and the notary to how you serve the community today.
Okay, that's a great question. I think the best way to describe our nonprofit is it was born out of a time that could have been sad or where we could have felt sorry for ourselves. But instead of that feeling, we chose to put our hearts into helping people because that fulfillment carried us through. My son was going to school at the time. They did a blessing bag campaign where it's a gallon size bag of food and hygiene. And we had a few that we had taken from the project where they offered everybody can take one. We took them and we gave them out. I'm sure everybody has seen those places on the side of the road with the signs, the people who need help. And instead of giving money, unless I feel led, I would give them a blessing bag. When that ran out, we decided to go and make more. When we were talking about doing this on a bigger scale, I woke up one night from a dream and I had this idea in my head and I shared it with Shannon, and together we kind of decided that we wanted to have helping hands and I wanted it in the heart and we wanted to give hope to people. So hence how we built this 501c3 nonprofit, Helping Hands Giving Hope. At the time he was laid off. Who would ever not want him to work for him? I don't know. But basically, he built this amazing infrastructure. And then they said, thank you. We'll hire two people to keep it up. And then here you were. It was a hard time. And like I said, we had time and we had contacts that had money. So our time, their money, great partnership. We were able to bless a lot of people. It started out being known as the Helping Hands Blessing Bags. We've evolved into different parts of the year where we'll do different things, feeling led by the Spirit, if you will, as to what we should do in which season. And that philanthropy led me to really see how I am a person of I get fulfillment from helping others, which makes so much sense because my passion project is my Mary Kay business. And I honestly don't tell anybody. I would probably do it for free because I love the feeling of sitting down with a woman and empowering her, teaching her how to take great care of her skin and how to put makeup on to make her feel confident, look great, and show up in her community in a big way. Because I feel like if we feel like we look good, then we do better, we do more. And it's like a thrill, it's like a high I chase to get that feeling of fulfillment from helping people. And so that kind of goes along in lines with what we do at Helping Hands Giving Hope. Also, as a notary, I find myself in positions where I go to the people who can't get out sometimes, and I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. I get paid for the signings, obviously, but I feel like I'm really doing some good in the world, and that's pretty much what it's all about. I think that's my mission and my purpose here, and you align with that, so that's why we work so well together, is because we both get a lot of our fulfillment through service.
It's interesting because I was talking to some of the guys that worked for that company this morning. I'm on a Bible study twice a week. Every Tuesday morning, I'm on a Bible study, and then that's a bunch of guys who are CEOs and leaders in their community. They do a lot of stuff, a lot of movers and shakers. And a few of those guys that I worked with during that time, they're in this Bible study together. And then I do another Bible study on Thursday night, and this Bible study is filled with like radicals, and these guys are out here in the streets, moving and shaking in a different way. It kind of aligns with who I am on the other side of the fence. But as Amber talked about, one thing that she talked about that I thought was really interesting is that on October 4th, 2015, when we did our first blessing bag campaign, who would have thought it would grow into that? I mean, it was me, Amber Shannon Jr., who was 6, Ava, who was 2 in a stroller, Todd and Yolanda Dietrich, and their son Andrew, who was 6, and we actually went down to Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park's no longer there in Long Beach, and I just walked up to people and be like, "Hey, I got this bag. My name is Shannon. Can I pray for you?" And it went from us doing that to it matured into a bunch of other things. Now we do 4 basic things in Helping Hands Giving Hope. We do care for the homeless and the underrepresented. And we do it. Well, it's homeless, but now it's homeless and underrepresented because we care for everybody. We do mentorship, financial literacy, financial wellness, and then I do civic awareness where I talk to city leaders and talk about needs that exist in the community, and then we act on that. But by and large, here's what I have figured out. And I talked about this. I had a chance to speak to 150 young leaders at the YMCA last Monday. And I talked to them about, they were from a group called ACES, and ACES is the after school program. But here's the kicker with that: 80% of the families they serve are impoverished. And when you think about that number, it's something like 2,500 families they serve. I mean, it's an unbelievable number to see the amount of people that they serve that don't have it, but they figure out a way to get it. And what I've learned over the last few years is that no matter what God's called you to do, it'll work out if you just start doing it. And that's kind of what we saw with Helping Hands Giving Hope. We just started doing it, and it matured. It went from us doing 100 bags one time to now doing 150 bags a month, to food, to toys, last year Christmas trees, bikes, a bit of everything. But it's a family affair. And I think when Amber and I have the opportunity to talk to people, and this is what I want you to talk about, is that the first thing they ask is, how do I get started? And then particularly when a husband's called to do something, I was talking about this with my buddy Tito the Hood Santa. As I watched them on this past Saturday give out 3,000 backpacks, and they had the radio station there, and food and books. Um, they gave out these books, the 10X book. You can't see it because of the background, but all the stuff that they gave out. So his wife kind of holding down the fort behind the scenes, so he can go out and talk to people and get interviewed by people, and that's kind of how Helping Hands Giving Hope works. Amber will have ideas, but I'm kind of like the face that people see. I have a pretty vast network, so I'm blessed to be able to be out and talking to people and but behind the scenes, it's Amber holding it down, saying, "Hey, the kids are straight. We're homeschooling. You got a speaking engagement. Go talk to these people, or you have to go here and talk about what we do. Go do that." So I want you to talk about how you balance being a mom, a wife, and then fulfilling your vision of doing all this other stuff, and maybe give some insight to some of the younger moms out there that may have a desire to do the same.
It's a really great point. The first question that people might ask you is, how do I get started? The first question that people ask me is, how do you do all of this? And the best way I could answer that is my priorities. They align with, honestly, the Mary Kay company's values, which is God first, or your faith first, your family second, and your career third. And in that priority, in that lineup, everything falls together, I feel. I take time for myself every single day. As you know, at the end of every single day, I am a bath person and I need time by myself. I'm an extroverted introvert, so I can people, but too much peopling leaves me like fried and I need to go by myself and recharge. I think a lot of it comes with knowing yourself and really showing up in the world as your authentic self first before you decide to serve other people. You really have to have a handle on like what you want to do, how you want to spend your time, and how you want to show up for other people and who you want to be. Like that's the thing that I think I focus on a lot is who do I want to be, not necessarily like being a human doing, um, but being a human being. And in that, taking time to rest. I've told you before, there's many different kinds of rest. Sometimes it's physical rest, sometimes it's mental rest, sometimes it's active rest. There's a lot of different ways where you need to unplug and recharge. And sometimes it feels to people who are goers and who are doers that they're being lazy or that they should do this or they should do that. Well, don't shit on yourself, basically. Take the time, listen to your body, listen to how you feel, like your gut instincts are never wrong. There are seasons. Oh, my dog is barking. We have a German Shepherd and he's doing his job. There are seasons where it's go time and it calls for a lot of effort, a lot of work. And then there are seasons when it's okay to pull back and to not do as much. And I think you have to read the cycling of those times. And I think you have to, especially as a mom. So first of all, I try my best to show up as a wife first. I know that seems a bit odd to say, but when you have kids, they kind of take over your whole life and you don't even realize it. But Shannon and I still date actively, at least I would say weekly. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get one, but we still date. We still hang out outside of being parents. We try to just be boyfriend, girlfriend. So if you have a partner, it's really important to stay connected because as you're going through life, you want to make sure that you're growing in the same direction. If one of you is growing this way, you're reading the 10X book by Grant Cardone and the other one's not, it'll be uneven and you'll be unequally yoked. So I think for me, that's those things that I've spoke on so far, but also making sure that you really prioritize your time and be very intentional. I don't hang out with takers. I told my friend Alana that I met with this weekend, we had brunch. If I am in front of you, you know I love you because I don't do anything unless it's for the joy of it, the fun of it, or the love of it. And my time is so valuable that I won't spend it with you unless you're somebody who I really value, who I really trust, who I really want to sit with and be with. So I think that's true as well. Like surround yourself with people who are pouring into you and allowing you to be who you are and really cultivating those friendships because a lot of people spend time with people randomly for no reason and it's like you're wasting time. It doesn't make sense. That's how I balance it.
So first off, guys, this is the realness of kind of what we do. Like you hear dogs barking in the background. It's wild in these streets. Um, yeah, it made me think about something though, because as Amber talked about, the people you spend time with and the people, bless you, the people you partner with. The biggest question I get asked by people all the time is, how come you guys didn't partner with the church? Like, it's a valid question. And I'm gonna tell you why we didn't partner with the church. Because churches are not able to be as nimble, and look, she thought I was gonna say something crazy. That's why she looked like that. Churches aren't able to partner with us and do what we need to do at the speed we need to do it. Like, I don't have time for a church to go to their board or to their deacons and say, um, hey, this is what they've come up with, when there might be a single mom that, just separated from her husband and they need groceries. Like, that's been a real thing that's happened before. Or when there's a guy that his kids, he's on hospice and his kids are with the grandmother and they need groceries, and, Amber and the kids have to go and get groceries for him. That's happened before. And so, I think Amber talks about being a human being versus a human doing, and I'm a human doing. Like, I am on the move all the time. Everybody I hang out with is the same way. Um, so when we talk about the people that we're around, the people that every single person that I spend a great deal of time with work in some type of service capacities, whether they're civic leaders or, even friends that come along with me, that have come along with me in this journey. To, my buddy Joe that had a bagel shop, and when I was laid off, he would let me set up an office in the bagel shop and have meetings there. He would give me, bagels and coffee for the people that came. It's about, doing your part, whatever your part is. I think the biggest thing that I tell people, and I was talking to a young man about this last week, is he had a desire to bring music to kids that didn't have music. And I said, well, if that's your part, do that. And do it gladly and do it unto the Lord and do it with a smile on your face. And if you do that, it won't be like work to you. It'll be easy. And it won't be easy, but at least when it's not easy, it'll be easy. Um, I was we were talking about this last week, that every single event we do, there's very few events that we do that before we do it, I'm not stressed out or, or worried about, like, are we going to have enough people show up? Are we going to have enough resources to give away? And then Amber's always like, oh, the Lord will work it out. The people that come are the people that are supposed to come. Don't worry about it. The Lord will work it out. And that's kind of what you need. You need a person like Amber behind you saying, hey, don't worry about it. Let's just go through and do it. And whatever happens, that's what happens. But I'm going to tell y'all a quick story. So this is episode 1 of the Chronicles road trip. So I didn't work from January 28th, 2015 till January 9th, 2017. We found out my mom had cancer. Um, I got laid off from the fintech startup. Gave me a chance to kind of build Helping Hands Giving Hope, but we ran out of money. Like, I couldn't get a job. No matter what I applied for, nothing was working, right? And so I ended up getting a job. Lord saw fit. In July of 2017, we were at a graduation party. Our old babysitter, Cheyenne, she graduated from Cal State Long Beach, and then she has a graduation party. Lady we went to church with, she was homeless, but then she was unhoused and then got housed. So she's sitting at this table with us, and Amber and the lady goes, "Hey, I found an apartment, but they don't have a refrigerator in the apartment." And so Amber's like, "Girl, don't worry about it. We'll get you a refrigerator." And so, like, I'm cool and collected like this. I was like, "Yeah." So when the lady left, I asked Amber, I was like, "Who the hell gonna get this lady a refrigerator?" Like, Shannon Sterling worked in like 2 years. I ain't gonna get this lady a refrigerator. We don't even have we don't have the infrastructure and resources that we have in Helping Hands Giving Hope now. Like, this lady gonna be asked out because we ain't gonna be able to get a refrigerator. And so Amber's like, "Don't worry about it. The Lord will work it out." On a Saturday, we leave the party at like Saturday at like 8:30. Amber posted on Facebook. A day later, somebody texted Amber and was like, "Hey, you guys still need a refrigerator because I'm rehabbing some rental properties and I have a refrigerator that's only a couple of months old." And then it happened again the following year when we started our relationship with the ILWU, the Longshoremen Union. They reached out to us and said, "Hey, can we give you guys our leftovers?" And Amber's like, "Sure." And I was like, "Hey, did you happen to ask these people how much stuff they're talking?" And she was like, "No, but you got a pickup truck." And so we went and go back and forth. And then they call us and they were like, "Oh, it's 4 pallets." So I told Amber, I was like, Jesus Christ, you ruined us. Like, these people are going to think we're some shady asses and they're not going to want to do any business with us because of what you've done. I can't believe you told these people this. This is just ridiculous. And I like tears are in my eyes. I'm like, grand opening, grand closing of Helping Hands Giving Hope. So get this, y'all. This is how it worked out. So 10 days before Thanksgiving, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 days before Thanksgiving, I get a call from Chris Tenorio, who's the pastor of Ecclesia Church out in Orange County. So he says this. He goes, "Hey, do you know anybody that can help out this organization, Grateful Hearts?" I was like, "What they need?" He said they need Thanksgiving meals because Stater Brothers and Albertsons backed out on them because of the fires that happened. And I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "I might have a lead on some food, but I don't have a truck." He said, "Well, they got a 24-foot refrigerated truck." And I was like, "Well, if they could pick up our stuff, we'll give them their meals." They picked up 250 turkeys, 5,000 pounds of other food. And then that's when that relationship started. And then it went from 250 the next year, 250 again the next year, in COVID, 300. And then so, it started with us being willing to do something. We were willing to do something, and then the Lord just came alongside of us. So, my message to y'all is that if you're willing to do something, if you got something that the Lord is telling you to do it. Tito the Hood Santa, he was talking to us on Saturday, and why don't you share some of the stuff that he gave us, because it really resonated with us. And he'll be on the next few episodes, like episode 4.
All funny stories, and yes, that's how I roll. I feel like if we're the willing vessels, he'll make it happen. We're his hands and feet. And at the end of the event, we were leaving, and obviously not empty-handed, because Tito is Tito, and he was like, "Take some more stuff," and we ended up taking more stuff to New Hope Grief. And he just was candidly having conversation about believing for more. Like, "You guys need a storage unit." I was like, "Tell me about it. You know how many things I would have in my store? I don't turn it down a donation. If somebody's giving something away, I say yes." By the way, people need to say yes more often in life, but because we're going to need it for something, somebody's going to need it. So I really want to have more space. And he's like, "And you guys need to get vans. I got this van and that van." And we're just looking at it. I'm like, "Yeah, we do. We need a van," because between his truck and the back of my SUV, sometimes it's a lot. And then he said his mom, bless her heart, she checked him on a prayer one time. He said he prayed in front of her. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but he said he prayed in front of her, and she was like, "That's it?" He was like, "What are you talking about, Mom? I'm pouring my heart out to God right now." And she goes, "You're praying to like the King of the universe, the Almighty, who has access to everything, and that's what you're asking for? Like, come on, ask for like what you really want. He'll give it to you. He has everything." And he said, "My mom checked me and like grew my belief and my prayer life." And Shannon and I talked about that on the way home. Like, so, you talk the talk, but do you walk the walk? Do you really believe that if you put yourself out there, that the Lord will work it all out? Yes, because we have so many, all the funny situations that he has talked about. We have so many stories of we said yes, and I just waited on the Lord. I was like, "He'll work it out. He's never going to let this person not get their fridge or these people not get their food. Like, he'll work it out." And I just believe like that. And so it served, and it obviously happened for Shannon to get a job again when the right job came along, and the whole season of that, what that time was a gift for him to be able to be there for his mom. So when that season passed on, here comes the new job. So it's just a faith walk. And I think Helping Hands Giving Hope has given people hope, not just the people that we serve, but the people that serve with us can watch all that transpire and kind of look on the sidelines, like what it looks like to believe for big things, or what it looks like to, sometimes there would be events where we would show up and nobody would be there to help. And so I remember at least one where it was just the four of us at the YMCA building blessing bags. And I just thought to myself, I have so much gratitude for having this big, huge space, and I'm not doing it at home in my garage or whatever, but the mission is still going to go forth. Like, I remember saying to Shannon one time, it doesn't matter who comes. The movie theater still plays the movie at 2:15. Whether the theater is full or not, they're running the movie. If one person buys a ticket, they get to watch the movie. So that's how I feel too. Like, it's going to happen. And however, whoever shows up is supposed to be who was supposed to be there. And for whatever reason, it was to accomplish. So I agree with Shannon. Whatever you're called to do, be obedient. Do it. Start with what you have, with where you are at now. Don't compare yourself to others, and just do the work and do it like you would unto the Lord, because I'll leave you with these parting words. That's the commandment that's most important overall, is to love your neighbor as yourself, and to love God and love people, and put that on everything. Hang that above all the others. Just do that. Just love people.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, I'll say this, that the vision that you have and what God's called you to do, you got to do it with force. You got to do it with vigor, and you got to do it. You got to be serious about it. I was telling Amber's friend Alana, and she sent a response to a prayer request a couple of days ago, and I said, all you need in life is three G's. I need God, I need a gun, and I need guts. That's it. And those three G's. You get God, your Glock, and guts, and you go out and do what you got to do. Some of you might not want to get a Glock, but I mean, really, it really don't make sense not to. I mean, it's reasonably priced firearm. It's Austrian made. You know, it's guaranteed it'll work. It's gonna fire when you pull it. So, um, but look, I'll wrap up by saying this. God, we I wanted Amber to be our first guest on the Card Chronicles podcast, and we're in the process of putting the studio together. But I wanted to really talk about like our path to getting where we're at now, and inspire others to fulfill and follow the vision that God's given them. Because again, no man's an island. You can't do this alone. Like no matter what you want to do, you can't do it alone. Tito had and Local Hearts Foundation. They had hundreds of volunteers the other day, and you're just partnering with people that are good people that believe in your vision. We give to Local Hearts. He gave us 150 backpacks. They give to us. Everybody's always looking out for everybody, and that's how you know this is real. Again, another reason it was tough for us to partner with the church, and there are churches that we partner with. We partner with Zion Community Temple down in South Central. Um, just a great bunch of guys down there, but they share the vision with us. Pastor Vince has been down with us since before we started Helping Hands Giving Hope, and so they share the vision with us of serving others, and it's service before self, and looking at the needs of others before your very own. And so that's what I would call you to do. Amber, you got any parting words before I close this out tonight?
No, I am thankful to be here with you and to share a little bit of our story with everybody else. And I want to honor you for being obedient and always putting yourself out there. On social media, I'm not so good at doing the videos and keeping up with people and talking to people every day, but there are so many people that are blessed by what you do, and just keep doing it. And I just appreciate you. And we're here as a resource. If anybody ever wants to talk, you can find us on social media, Helping Hands Giving Hope, or our different pages. And if you have questions or you need support, reach out and we'll be there.
That's right, guys. So look, thank you for taking the time. Those who've taken time to watch this on YouTube or on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're watching. Amber and I are going to go now negotiate some nighttime fellowship like husband and wives do, because we're legally married. But look, that's all we got today. And as I say always, I love you. God loves you. Keep living in victory, and we'll see you soon. Have a good night, everybody.